After a thrilling kick-off in Mexico, the 2025 Kumho FIA TCR World Tour is now heading towards its grand finale. It's been a gripping season that's taken the world's top touring car drivers across the globe. Following 3 European rounds in Valencia, Monza and Villarreal, the World Tour jetted off to Australia for 2 exciting races at the Bend Circuit not far from Adelaide, before making history with its first ever visit to South Korea at Inji Speedium, where door-to-door battles and bumper-to-bumper action perfectly embodied the spirit of touring car racing. And now it's China's turn, the penultimate stop of the 2025 season. Inclement weather would greet the World Tour field ahead of qualification in what was set to be a difficult session for the 22 Kumho FIA TCR World Tour drivers in the field. Even more difficult for Norbert Michaelis, seen here on the exit of pit lane, almost collecting the back of Red Dewa. The Hungarian driver managed to avoid strife on that occasion, finishing the session in a very respectable 3rd position overall, just behind Championship challenger Ted Bjork for Lynk Co Cyan Racing. On a weekend where the team would secure the team's title, 2nd place would be a good result for the Scandinavian driver. However, all eyes on that man Aurélien Comte, and the Frenchman taking pole position to put himself in the best spot possible for a very strong weekend here in China, and of course to receive the pole position award from Marcello Lotti.
Fantastic club time. Thank you.
At the head of your pack then, it is Aurélien Comte on pole position from Ted Bjork. Norbert Michaelis, you can see poking out the back of your shot in 3rd, looking for a perfect launch off of the line. The lights are on, the lights are off, and round 16 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour is underway here in China. That's a good start at the head of the pack for Aurélien Comte. Yann Ehrlacher in the 168 looks around the outside, tries to find a little bit of real estate for himself. He's on the attack, but also the defence. Will Brown having a look around the outside. The Australian tidy away from the line, but doing a good defensive drive to stem the flow of drivers looking to make their way past. Yann Ehrlacher almost having a look to the inside of the Australian driver. Macau on the defensive, and a little bit further back, Esteban Gurrieri goes from attacker to defender to attacker in the very same breath. Gurrieri hung out to dry and is now under pressure from the cars behind. Just ahead of Esteban then we saw Yann Ehrlacher having a little look to the inside of Will Brown. Nothing doing on this occasion as the BRC squad in a bit of strife further back. There you can see just to the outside line goes the 129 of Bebu Girolami. Girolami trying to find his way back into the pack. It's hard to find racing room here in China, but our drivers are doing their level best to do so. Girolami then to the inside, around the outside, attempts to go Santiago Urrutia. Santiago though on this occasion cannot find the racing room, has to slot back in position, and now has a hungry Nacho Montenegro for company as Zhuzhou finds himself in a whole world of excitement just ahead of a very hungry pack. The flash of the lights from Zhuzhou onto the back of Esteban Gurrieri says, hey, I want to come through. Gurrieri though tries to defend, goes back to the racing line, leaves the door open, and Zhuzhou does not need a second invitation. Will Brown is trying to insert himself in a fight with Macau, and doing so in grand fashion indeed. That's a lovely manoeuvre there for Will. Gets the door shut very firmly indeed. Macau has no right to respond, and then Yann Ehrlacher decides, I fancy a go with this one. I'm enjoying the game. You're playing. Can I have a go? Well, you can indeed, Yann. Take that position away. Move up in a 6th place. Yann Ehrlacher very, very comfortable indeed. Macau under a little bit of pressure from the cars behind. Lynk Co to be the first in the queue, trying to have a nibble at the back of the Chinese driver. And Ma doing good work so far. 6th position for the Chinese. Runs a little bit deep, runs a little bit wide. Ted Bjork, 111, still in that second position, still dropping back from a rallying compt. And if anything, Nicholas now starting to line up for a bit of an attack. 1/10 quicker last time around was Nobe. Not pulling any trees up, so to speak, but a 10th here and a 10th there. Very quickly make up seconds. That's the widest Hyundai Elantra NTCR in the whole wide world. But Ehrlacher now gets a great run off the final sets of corners. Looks to the outside line. Brown has it covered. Watch your braking points, gentlemen. Very nicely done. Ehrlacher can't sneak the car back to the inside line. Brown gives him about enough racing room, plus 2 millimetres, to fit the Lynk Co Cyan racing car alongside. And fit he does. Look at the switchback though. Brown gets it back to the inside. Ehrlacher a little bit deep. Both cars running all the way off the racing surface. Ehrlacher using a bit of grass as well for good measure. Wisely elects to drop back behind the Australian driver, but this is an absolute ding-dong. If you had a question for Will Brown about how hard he's going to fight, there is your answer. Put that one in your pipe and smoke it, says Will. I'm giving away absolutely nothing. Yann Ehrlacher, one more lap to roll the dice. And at the head of the pack, Aurelian Comte rounds the final corner, takes the checkered flag, and with a victory in round 16 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour here in China. A dominant performance for the SP competition driver. Ted Bjork crosses the line in second position. Norbert Michaelis rounds out the podium finishers. But Aurelian Comte, I'm sure, will be delighted. Look at that one. SP competition, of course, is the team in which Aurelian drives. They started off as a two-car team, didn't they? They had John Philippe at the start of the season. Well, John's fallen by the wayside over the course of the year. Now flying solo is Aurelian, and well, ain't doing him no harm, is it? Another race victory for Aurelian Comte. Another absolutely fabulous podium for Ted Bjork.
Amazing day for us. The first goal, take the first take a good start. So it's done. So the second goal was a big gap in the first lap with Ted, and after managed my front tire. Ted 40 kilo, so it helped me. So I'm really happy for the team.
Here are then the race one results. Aurelian Comte from Ted Bjork and Norbert Michaelis are the podium. A great performance from Will Brown in fourth. Yann Ehrlacher and Marcin Kwa rounding out the top six. With the podium celebrations underway, Marcello Lotti awards the trophy to our race one winner. Aurelian Comte, his second win of the season, joining victory in Monza. The big question is though, from 10th on the grid, can the French driver recover the places and get a second podium of the weekend? Tensions rise then here in China as we are about to go racing all eyes to the top of your screen. There are the lights, they go on and they go off, and we go for round 17 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Santiago Arrutia at the front of the pack, immediately under pressure from Nestor Girolami. Girolami sees the inside, Girolami sees an early race lead, but immediately goes off of the racetrack, rejoins in fine style, holds on to the head position. Santiago Arrutia loses one off the start as everybody throughout the field is scrabbling for grip in these difficult wet conditions. Slick tyres, a greasy surface does an exciting time make, and Esteban Gurrieri tries very hard indeed to make it exciting all the way around the outside. Grip is going to be reduced somewhat on that line, and Gurrieri from the hero to the zero instantaneously gets gobbled up by a hungry pack. Almost contact, maybe a little bit of contact between the two. A little sandwich. Ted Bjork is the meat in the sandwich. Esteban Gurrieri to the inside, Will Brown to the outside. Three cars, one piece of racetrack. Never ends well, and somehow, by hook or by crook, all three drivers make it through the corner, and Ted Bjork decides, I enjoyed that one, I'll have a little bit more, please. The Esteban Gurrieri fight continues. Gurrieri trying desperately to run Bjork out of racing room. Ted says, no thank you, my elbows are sharper than yours, and the position is mine for the taking. Bjork up one. Guerrieri now has Will Brown climbing all over the back of the Honda Civic. In the wet, it's quite a good idea to stay away from the racing line. Another tarmac that's down on the surface, but didn't work on that occasion for Compt. Second time we're asking, Aurelien Compt gets the job done. While we're watching the drama with our eyes on track though, have a look at the top of your screen. Car number 129, who is that? I hear you ask. Your race leader, Nestor Girolamo, must give the car position back to the 112. Santiago Urrutia. So what has Beppu Girolamo done that the stewards do not like? We saw some off-track excursions through the first corner. Perhaps he's fallen foul of that one. But the key is, our race leader needs to concede the 2.2 seconds that he's gained, needs to concede the track position. And the man behind him, Santiago Urrutia, with Mikel Azcona for company, will very soon be our new race leader. And BRC need to be hyper careful on this one. Two teammates first and third. Is Esteban Guerrieri. That's some wet, slick, wet tyres on the car. So Guerrieri rolling the dice. This could be absolutely crucial, or the end of his competitive prospects. We'll keep our eye on this one as Mikel Azcona and Beppu Girolamo forget for a moment their teammates. And there is, unfortunately, the victim of that one is the rear bumper of Mikel Azcona's Hyundai Elantra TCR. It's not his rear bumper, it's Beppu Girolamo's front bumper. I often say that they're so close they could be the rear license plate to each other. Well, that takes it to the extreme, doesn't it? There we go, Beppu Girolamo, no thank you. Car number 105, our rating champion. Norbert Michaelis has a 5-second penalty for gaining an advantage out of track. So not ideal for Norby. Norby in 6th position as things stand. Not ideal at all. The 5-second time penalty will be coming his way. And it's going to hurt his prospects somewhat. Also struggling a little bit with damage. Norby under massive pressure now. Gets it all wrong on corner exit. Marchinquois with the superior drive in these difficult conditions. Gets a very easy overtake done indeed. Vulnerable to the counter-attack. Norby's been successful to the inside of here before. That becomes the outside line though. Can he get the car back to the apex? There's a Lynk Co in the way. Nicholas Bolt in the middle of the corner. Can't quite get that manoeuvre done and dusted. Marchinquois then is up in a 6th place. Norby down in a 7th position. Esteban Guerrieri now is out of this race. Sadly for him. Safety car is going to be in this lap. Santiago becomes, in effect, our safety car, and there are absolutely, well and truly, no flies on Yann Ehrlacher whatsoever on that safety car restart, was there? Ehrlacher painting himself to the rear of his teammate, letting him know very early indeed that Ehrlacher would dearly like to take this win, and Urrutia not one to fight that one. At the first opportunity leaves the door wide open. And Ehrlacher now is your new race leader. Battle-scarred Beppu Girolamo is in 3rd position. Nacho Montenegro makes him a place. Over the final couple of minutes, Santiago Urrutia, under all the pressure in the world, there's Aurelien Compt and Norbert Michaelis once again. Norby still in 7th position, Compt in 8th. Has a little look. Look at the back of this one though. Oh, Bjork into the side of Girolamo. Ted Bjork, hip and shoulder to Beppu Girolamo. Girolamo holds on to that one. Santiago under pressure. This is Ted in the 111. Trying to find a way past his teammate. Great bit of driving there from Urrutia to leave the passage clear for teammate Bjork to make his way through. But there is Beppu Girolamo. He doesn't want the Lynk Co squad to have it their own way. Mikel Azcona as well, storming around the outside for Mikel. The outside line though is going to run out of space to the inside. There is the other one of the BRC Hyundais. That is the front of the car missing. Beppu Girolamo tries to find a way past Bjork. Heavily defensive. Goes the Swedish driver. Big contact between the two of them. Girolamo, can he gather the car? Almost half spin in the middle of the pack. Ted Bjork about as surprised as Beppu Girolamo would have been about that one. Big contact between the two. Marchinquois goes to the grass. There's a little bit more shenanigans through the final corner as well. Another Hyundai, another Lynk Co. This time Norby, this time Urrutia. Marchinquois wants to stay well and truly out of that one. There's a little bit further back. That's one of the BRC cars going for an adventure. Rejoins the racetrack in quote-unquote dubious circumstances. But the pack just about survives. Ehrlacher Comp, goodness gracious me, 4 wide is never a clever idea. The inside line goes to Santiago Arrutia. The inevitable contact occurs, and Norbert Michaelis is the one left shaking his head, thinking what just happened there. Ehrlacher Comp is a big beneficiary. Will Brown hunting like a shark with blood in the water. The inside line goes to Will Brown, and he says, "G'day, mate," and see you later on. The Australian driver, 2-for-1 pass, gets it done. Beautiful stuff. A little bit of contact again. Further back, Ryan McMillan sees his HMO Customer Racing teammate, wants to get involved in that one. McMillan to the inside, all kinds of strife. Goes Brown. Goodness gracious me, boys. Oh dear, who's that on the grass as well? That's one of the BRC squads, almost having himself an aeroplane-sized accident. Everybody gets away with this one. Marchingois scrabbling the grip in the middle of the pack. This is absolute class. We hit the final lap now here. As at the head of the pack, it is Yann Ehrlacher, who is the man that took the race victory, wins round number 17 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour of the Hunan International Circuit from Ehrlacher and Ted Bjork. But further down, look at this squabble contact right at the very death. Every single one of the drivers in the field almost as one crossed the line. It's going to take me about a week to work out who finished where. We know that Bjork's on the podium. Isn't that man Yann Ehrlacher? His 4th win. Here at the top 10, following an outstanding race as we speak to an excited race winner, Lynk Co Cyan Racing's Yann Ehrlacher.
I don't know who, but then at some point I had to pass, they push me again, I fall back, I pass again, push again, and then I managed to get Bebu, and then it was a bit better. But a bit more relaxed.
And then Santi and Bebu then had a fight.
Yeah, and you.
And you, yes.
And me. And the start, mate. The start, it was side by side for 3 laps.
And now the winner's trophy to Lynk Co Cyan Racing's Yann Ehrlacher.
We will go motor racing. Your eyes to the top of the screen, please. Lights on, lights off in an instant. And round 18 of the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour is underway, and Ehrlacher Comp almost into the side of Ted Bjork at the head of the pack, but Bjork holds on from pole position. An early race lead for the Swedish driver. Yann Ehrlacher involved in that one as well. A little bit further back, 3 Hyundais side by side they go, where 3 Hyundais cannot fit. Will everybody make it through? Norbert Michaelis is side by side. That's Bjork defending heavily for the race lead from Ehrlacher Comp. Comp has the outside line. Almost coming together, do the 2 drivers. Good avoidance there from Ted Bjork, holding on to that race lead. While a little bit further back, one of the Hyundais runs very deep indeed, scrabbling for grip. In the early stages of the World Tour field, a man finding the grip. The best of all is your race leader, Ted Bjork from Ehrlacher Comp, and a very interesting looking Yann Ehrlacher, keeping a watching brief in 3rd. Ted Bjork holds on. Ehrlacher Comp trying every single trick in the book. Lights ablaze on car 107. I'm coming through, says the French driver, and right on cue. The inside line is optimised, and Ehrlacher Comp takes over the lead for SP competition. And Ehrlacher Comp now has extended his gap to 0.6 of a second. This is a great start for the French driver, and it's not too shabby either for the Australian. There goes Will Brown on the works team. Absolutely no respecter of reputations is Will Brown side by side. The customer HMO car versus the BRC Works vehicle. And Brown can't quite make his way past on this occasion. Michaelis holds on just behind teammate Zhuzhou. Ehrlacher has a little look, a little think, and a little see. But on this occasion, Ehrlacher not quite close enough to launch an attack. As Brown and now battle-scarred Norbert Michaelis continue their fight. Rubbing is racing to see in touring cars. Well, there's plenty of rubbing between those two at this moment in time. Still just about advantage to the Hungarian driver, Norbert Michaelis, holding on to that 6th position. Last time around, it was a very healthy 0.6 of a second advantage to Ehrlacher comes to the head of the pack, so pace looking good for the Frenchman, pace looking good for Will Brown to the inside, rat-a-tat-tat, bang-a-bang-bang, door handle to door handle we go. That's how we go motor racing in Australia, says Will Brown, thank you very much. Noble Michaelis has been overtaken and looks very vulnerable to Mikael Athkona behind. Michaelis has a look to the inside, Brown's got that one covered, another little kiss, another little tap, good job. Mikael Athkona in the 196. Is going to have to work again. Great turn in apex. If you can't find a way past, just smash into the rear corner. Absolutely fine. Santi and Mikael have got all the hallmarks of absolute tears written over this one. Santiago Arruti, though, thankfully. And you don't expect to see a goat racing Honda Civic sat in the middle of the road, not moving anywhere. That is Nacho Montenegro. Thankfully, that car's running. Well played, Nacho. Can he get it out of the line of fire, though? That looks to me like the final corner, and I suppose there'll be a great time, good opportunity. I do like to do this one, to shout out the marshals and thank the marshals for all the great work they do to get us back up and running. Masterstroke of a restart from the French driver, found a gap, took the gap and left Ted Bjork standing. The Swede will look back on this one not very favourably, methinks. That is not a great restart from car 111. Ted Bjork has work to do now between himself and Ehrlacher Compt. There we go, there's the bit of bodywork. Separated itself from the underside of Norbert Michaelis' car, caught the man out by surprise, it has to be said as well. But at the end of the day, when all of the shouting, when all of the excitement, preparation, dramas and controversies are over and done with, the history books will record that man, Ehrlacher Compt, as a race winner in the Kumho FIA TCR World Tour. Round number 18 goes the way of Ehrlacher Compt, his second win of the weekend, his third win of an incredible 2025 season. What a performance for Ehrlacher ahead of Ted Bjork and Yann Ehrlacher on the podium. He's going to be overcome with emotion. My goodness me, when that all settles in, when he's sat back in his hotel room tonight, maybe with a refreshing beverage down his neck, he's going to look back on this one and think,
yeah, this is fantastic weekend. Shame for the race too, but that's it. And this victory, it's for my team because a little team, and also we have a little problem in before the pit lane open. So yes, the victory for the mechanic. He repairs the car just limit of the pit lane. So I'm happy.
Congratulations, well done, well deserved.
Confirmation then of the race 3 result and a commanding victory for Ehrlacher Compt ahead of Ted Bjork and Yann Ehrlacher. Another good performance there from Will Brown in 4th, Santiago Arruti and Ryan McMillan with his first top 6 of his World Tour adventures. As the sun sets then here in China, there's only one man at the top step of the podium. Ehrlacher Compt, his third win in 2025, setting himself up for a great Macau weekend next time around, but more importantly for the Drivers' Championship, Yann Ehrlacher and Ted Bjork make it a 2-horse race, 34 points separating our top 2 drivers. And true to tradition, the season will come to a close on the fearsome streets of Macau.
You know, Macau is a special place in the world because it's the atmosphere there, you know, the season final, everything is going to end up, who's going to be the champion, and there's no room for mistakes. You can feel the tension in the air and the adrenaline when you do a good lap or a good race. It's fantastic.
Doesn't matter if you have been there 3 times, 10 times, 15 times. The feeling is that you are there for the first time, and it's always special. You need to have a very good judgment of being as close to the wall as possible. And to do that, you need to take some risk. But like I told you before, risk management part and not to be too greedy, that's for me a key element in Macau. And it sounds easy, but it's one of the hardest things to do, especially when you feel that you have a good car. because when you feel that you have a good car, you feel invincible. And that's the moment which is the most dangerous in Macau.